So in this video, I'm going to talk about the basics of using the selecting tools and then also how to copy and paste a selection in one image into another image. So first of all, why do we have selecting tools? We have selecting tools because Photoshop is a program that allows you to manipulate pixels, those little squares that an image is made out of. So here, like if I zoom in, you'll see the little squares, those are pixels. And it'll do whatever you tell it to do. But the first thing that it needs to know is, okay, well, which pixels do you want to manipulate? Which pixels do you want to make another color or delete or change in some way? So we use our selection tools. Our selection tools are in the upper right hand of the screen, upper left, and they are towards the top of the toolbar. So if you click and hold here, you'll see there's the rectangular and the elliptical. There's also these single row ones. I've been using Photoshop since 1994. I've maybe had to use those once, but I do use these top two ones very often. Also, there's these three lasso tools. So again, if you click on a tool, you'll see that there are other related tools that are grouped together with it. So I have those. And then one more down, I've got the object selection, quick selection, magic wand tool. So I'm showing you the basics. Like it's 2020 and Photoshop allows you to very quickly make selections. But I want you to understand the old school way of doing it so that you can manually change anything that you want to change. So the rectangle. You just click and drag and click and drag and click and drag. You can see that's the area I selected it and I said, hey, I want to delete it. And you just click and drag and you get rectangles. If you want a perfect square, you need to hold down Shift. So if I hold down Shift, I will get a perfect square, right? Same with the elliptical. So I can just click and drag and get some ovals. But if I want a perfect one, then I hold down Shift first and click and drag and I get a perfect circle, right? Now, anytime you have a selection, this is just a side note, anytime you have a selection and you don't want it to be there anymore, you don't want those little marching ants going around, you can either go up to select on the menu bar and choose deselect, or you can see the keyboard shortcut right there is Control D. On a PC, it's going to be different on a Mac. Probably Command D is what I'm guessing. It's been a while since I've used a Mac. So again, anytime you have a selection and you don't want it to be there anymore, you want to deselect it either in the menu bar or Control D. Now, we have the lasso tool. So the lasso tool works by, I can just click and I'm holding down the click and I can draw around something. You see that I'm not doing that great of a job. I have to use my mouse. You know, this might be more useful for someone using a tablet or something and a pen, but I can kind of go all the way around and draw. And when I'm done, I just let go of the mouse and I will have a selection. All right. I know it's not perfect. I will show you options that are better than that. So another one is the polygonal lasso tool. So the polygonal lasso tool works like this. So first watch and then I'll explain it. It makes straight lines and angles. It makes straight lines and angles. And that might be more helpful if you're trying to go around, say, a building or something with perfectly straight lines. It would be much more useful. So this is the way that it works. You click and let go, click and let go, click and let go, click and let go, and then double click at the end. And it closes itself. Now, there's one that might be even more helpful than that, called the magnetic lasso tool. And it looks for, here I'll zoom in one more time to show you, it looks for differences between pixels, right? It's trying to find this edge and hug to that edge. So on the magnetic lasso, the way that it works is you kind of go around and you'll see, like if I pull up a little bit, it wants to hang still at the edge of the dog's head. What I like to do is when I go around, I kind of click to hold it in place to help it along, and I can go around the whole thing. I'm not going to take the time to go around the whole dog. You can see that it's not perfect, though if I was much more careful and zoomed in, I could be going around and doing a better job. All right. So when you're done going around and clicking, you double click. Oops, I did that one too many times. You double click and it will close the selection. All right, it will close the selection. Now, this actually gives me the opportunity to show you something that's very helpful with these tools, which is if I am missing areas, I can add to a selection. If I have areas that I don't want, like this grass up here, I can take away from a selection. So the way that you do it on a PC is with the Shift and Alt button. So before we press Shift, before we had anything selected, and it gave us a perfect circle or square. However, if you already have a selection, then Shift will add to that selection and Alt will take away from it. So I'm actually just going to switch back to the Lasso tool because you can switch between tools and use different ones in combination with each other. And if I wanted to add to this selection, I hold down Shift. And you may notice, it depends on how big your screen is, that I have a little plus now on my mouse. And so now, if I go around something, I'm just trying to do it quickly so I don't take up too much of your time, and go back to the beginning, it will add to the selection. So I'm holding down Shift, and I can add to a selection. Right? Holding down Shift over here, and I can add to a selection. If I want more of the nose, I'm holding down Shift. I can add to the selection. If I want to take away, I hold down Alt on a PC and I get that little minus. And now I can circle whatever I don't want and take it away from the selection. I can circle what I don't want and take it away. And you can switch between tools. If for some reason I wanted like a big circle added to it, I could hold down Shift and have a big circle on the face as well. Or I could take away something with the polygonal lasso tool. So I could hold down Alt, and if I wanted to, take away that part of the selection. So now it would look like this. So you can always add and take away from a selection, and that really helps you refine your selection. I am going very quickly, and so that's why it's so messy. But yes, but it's just the basics of doing that. Now, it is true that now with the very advanced Photoshop, you have things, say the object selection tool, where I can just draw a box over this whole thing and it will kind of use AI to try and find the edges of the dog. It's not perfect. It has this little extra part, but see, this is where you could start with those tools, but then refine with the more manual tools. So I could go in and press Alt and use the lasso tool, and I could maybe kind of go and circle here if I didn't want this extra grass. Or I could zoom in and make refinements on the edges. There are other more advanced ways of doing this with the pen tool, and there's ways that you can refine your selections and modify, but that's a little more advanced, and I just want you to understand the basics right now. So that is why we went through the rectangle, the elliptical, the 3 lasso tools, and the object selection tool. So one thing, just an extra little thing about when you use, like, say, the magnetic lasso tool. When I go around with the magnetic lasso tool, if it starts getting messed up and I'm like, no, wait, that's not what I want to do, all you have to do is press escape and it gets rid of it. So that is also a very helpful thing for when you have, when you're using the magnetic lasso tool. Same with the polygonal. Like if it starts getting messed up and you're like, wait, what can I do? Just press escape and it will go away. Now, let's say that you have a selection and you want to put it into something. So what you really need is a background. So if you have an object and you want to put it into another picture, you have to have that second picture. So I highly recommend, before you even start, selecting things, make sure that you have all the images that you want to use in your on your screen. Sorry, because I zoomed in. So I'm going to find a background. So in here, like I found this jungle. So I want to right click, copy image, like we've found in the other video, and go to File, New, press Create, Edit, Paste. And you want these all in separate tabs. You wouldn't want to put this into the dog picture. You wouldn't want to put the complete dog picture into this. You want everything in separate tabs. It just really makes your life easier. So then once you have this selection here, to copy, using the menu bar, it's Edit, Copy, and then I switch to this tab and I do Edit, Paste. All right. Or if you prefer, you can Control C on a PC and then Control V for paste if you are a person that likes keyboard shortcuts. So that's Command C or Command V, I believe, on a Mac. So that is how you use some selection tools, those kind of manual tools in a basic way. There is the more advanced tools such as the object selection tools, but you can always refine them using Shift and Alt and those more manual tools. And that's very good for kind of a basic level of being able to select things and then copy and paste them using Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste, or Control C, Control V, or Command C and V. If you have any questions, please let me know.